So I have the feeling that they do now the same. But yeah, let's see. It's a fucking big mess, man.
Yes,
you see
it
all
is.
those families and etc. Fucking hell.
Yes, it is. And good evening, everybody. We are live. I want to start the show, of course, as you see in there, the message just before we started. Of course, we all stand with Ukraine in what's going on at the moment. Of course, being a majorly European podcast, we all are very much close to paying attention to what's going on for our own safety, should we say, going forward. We don't know what's going to escalate, and obviously the Ukrainian people are putting up a hell of a fight. So we stand by them so far, and hopefully things do de-escalate sooner rather than later. But yes, we will start with fuck Putin, and of course we will carry that sentiment until this is finished with. At the moment.
Same with Activision, right?
Yes, yeah, and them as well, yeah.
Bobby Kotick, what was his name?
Yeah, Bobby Kotick. Everybody that causes issues like that can do one. But yes, we start, of course, with just 3 of our awesome panel members. Myself, Boxenberger, and Forza Erwin. Big Cloud will be joining us shortly. He's just driving back home, so he'll be with us in a second. But before he does jump in, let's get into our introductions. Of course, before we do that, this show is sponsored by Manscaped.
Show them, Drew.
Yes, show them. Show them what? Show them my balls?
Oh God, please, no.
Not that.
Why did you use it?
But yes, of course, with Manscaped, you can get 20% off with the code Midweek Mixup, MWMU, at manscaped.com with free shipping. So, of course, we will put that code across the bottom of the screen throughout the show as well. Obviously, it's an awesome bit of kit, an awesome shaver, very smooth, very easy to use, nice wireless charging deck, and nice carry case and accessories that come with it as well. It is highly recommended by myself. I did just have a standard battery-operated shaver previously, and it doesn't even compare to this one at all, to be honest. Very good kit and highly recommended. But let's get into the introductions today. Of course, joining us again once more, Forza Erwin. How are you doing today, brother? It's great to have you back on the essential eve of GT7. How are you doing today and what you've been up to?
Yes, doing well, thank you. Good to be on again after some really busy weeks. I did go to Denmark last week and also to Belgium in 1 week. Maybe next week I go to Morocco for a couple days as well for a job.
Can't say I'm not jealous.
Then afterwards I need to go to France and Switzerland again. And a couple times Denmark probably. So this year will be even more crazier than than last year. So I will skip a couple podcasts most likely.
Yeah.
Sadly, that also impacts my gaming time.
Yes.
Because when I then finally home, I'm so destroyed that I'm on the couch horizontally.
Yeah.
And I actually want to be in this one over here. But I'm glad I'm having the life and I'm not the youngest anymore as well. So that's maybe the reason. But GT7 is launching tonight at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or if you are in the bed, then you can play from tomorrow. So this will get some usage in the next couple days, 100%. And I saw some reviews, saw the Metacritic score, and makes me super excited to jump in Gran Turismo 7.
Definitely. We will talk about some of those reviews and thoughts on what we've kind of read so far. And of course, afterwards, when we've had a chance to play it, we'll obviously do our own and put our own thoughts into it as to what can be improved, what doesn't need improved, what's great, what isn't. I'm looking forward to trying it out. GT Sport was good. Of course, I don't match up on a controller compared to what you do. Here we go. Here's our other brother, Mr. BitCloud Gaming. Welcome back, sir. We will get into our next one, Mr. Boxenberger, Mr. OLED Boxenberger now. How are you doing today, brother? Obviously, you must have received your new OLED screen, so how is it? Right there.
Right there. There it is. Yes, it's awesome. Yesterday I received my new LG C1. I'm loving it. Still playing around a little bit with the settings, trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't. But it is an amazing TV, and I'm having a blast with it. Other than that, I've been dealing for an entire week now with a sinusitis. So I was actually thinking about skipping today, but man, I was lying on the couch the entire day, so I needed someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And my brothers are here, so I can't wait for today's show. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome stuff. And yes, obviously, everybody in chat, if he does need to go off camera, I'm sure you don't want to see him blow his nose or clear his lungs out. So if he turns the camera off, you know why.
Yeah.
Last but not least, of course, for today, Mr. BitCloud Gaming. How are you doing today, brother? What you been up to?
All over the place. What's up, people?
How's it going? What you been up to? You had a chance to do much gaming or anything this week? What's your week
have
been like?
have you been checking out the channel? I've been streaming Elden Ring. Crazy,
Oh yes,
crazy
of
hours.
course.
I broke the all-time record. Almost hit 10 hours streaming that game on one stream.
I'm guessing
Mind
that
you,
was,
I
I
started
bet
off with,
that didn't even feel like it was
1
10 hours though as well. Was it just one of them having so much
it really
fun?
didn't. I was having that much fun with it. It's one of those games that you kind of lose yourself in the world type of thing. You know, you're like, oh, I think I've done everything. And it's like, oh, wait, there's a small cave here. What's this lead? And it's like, oh, it's another boss. And it's like, you just keep going and going and going. And then the bosses I would say the scaling between the bosses, between main and basic ones, it really does show you can see some bosses do give a challenge here, some give you a challenge there. Others would be it feels like they turn the difficulty up times 15 like with this one boss yesterday where I was like, damn, I can't beat this guy like legit with the weapons I got or whatever, because he has all these crazy abilities. Like he has this meteor ability where he comes down and slams the earth and it's a one-hit kill. It's like, yeah, so you have to like do a lot of other stuff, but it's fun, man. It's a fun game.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you obviously been? I don't know whether or not you did. I know a few have. Were you given the opportunity to review GT 7 before it came out, or?
I actually missed the opportunity to do it. I was offered it. I just didn't get a chance to really say yes or no. So no.
So it was there and you didn't manage to get round to it.
Yeah, it was there. They all pretty much recommended. They were asking. I was like, I'll get back to you. I just never got back to it. I was like,
yeah. Oh,
So-
fair enough.
Can you say maybe next time yes, and then I will play it for you?
I'm not even a race. That's the thing. I'm not even a racing sim guy. Man, I see you got the racing set up behind you, so I might take you up on that offer.
Yes.
Yeah, he's obviously Erwin's our resident sim racer, regardless of what it is, whether it's Formula One, whether it's GT, Forza, whether it's Assetto Corsa Competizione, whatever it is, plays it all. So yeah,
A lot of dedication to that, man. I've seen these crazy wheels go for like $400. That's crazy.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a lot of
Yes.
dedication.
Yeah, and I want to have a new one as well.
Oh my god.
It's you have those direct drive views, so the
Yeah.
force feedback directly into the wheelbase instead of having a belt in between, right? So all the details seems to be much smoother.
Mm. I saw
But,
that one for where like the lights were on. It was like matching the car. Like
Yeah.
they had those. Like Jesus,
Yeah.
so
It's
much.
insane, and you know the GT DD it's called
Mhm.
has been released, but you put a Xbox wheel on it, and then it's compatible with Xbox and of course PC as well, and then PlayStation. So it's really nice that it's compatible with everything. So instead of buying two separate wheelbases, you can play practically everything. Only it's a one-time investment that is quite steep, but yeah, then you have the best there is actually. So if you have some money to burn, BitCloud, then go for it. Man.
Oh, so it's pretty much on the same level, I guess, as getting invested in like a VR-esque type
Yeah.
of environment, basically, you would say.
Yeah,
Okay.
more or less. Yeah. I think that's a more or less right comparison. Only it gives you an extra addition of experience, right? When you're
Yeah.
gaming, and that's what they both do as well. So they didn't have announced GT7 will be compatible with the PSVR 2, but that would be the most ideal setup for me at least.
No, okay. So you do it like for the whole arcade, old school type of feel.
No,
guess you
so
can
for me, it's really like a simulator, simcade, arcade, everything in between. I like dirt. I like Assetto Corsa Competizione. So really everything that has to do with racing, I like actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the early days, of course, the arcade, how do you say it, systems. When I was really young, that started me actually into racing. So that was that's where the fire started.
Ah.
Yeah.
But you're down in the competitive scene, playing like the ranked side of things, if they have that.
Yeah, so you have, of course, those daily races, and with GT, it's you build up drivers' rating. So when you are getting a higher class, and you can compete on a high level daily and on the daily basis. But you also have those championships, right? That they stream once in a while. So the GT World Series, and there is something that I am just simply not fast enough. I'm like 1 second of the top. Which is quite okay, but I'm not on a level like I used to be when I was a little bit younger and on a controller. Then I was like top 50 in the world, and even a little bit faster sometimes with some world records. But on my wheel, I see now guys are much faster. Like I said, 1 second, and that's still okay. But that's my maximum, sadly enough.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very
That's
it's a
what's
very
up.
competitive scene, and like I say, I've played even just on a controller against Erwin, and he's literally like 30 seconds ahead, and I'm not the worst racer. It's just not comparable when you've got someone on a sim race and setup compared to a controller.
That's the crazy thing. Like, usually when they use actual, like, I guess you say prop like controls, whether it be steering wheels or fight sticks, a lot of people typically lose with those against people with controllers because it's the smaller distance you have to press a button
Yeah.
type of thing, or a turn. Like in this case, you have to turn the wheel all the way. You just hold on the D-pad or on the stick, on the life stick. So it's
Yes.
wow, it's crazy.
Yeah. It also takes some adjustment, right, when you're on the wheel.
Yeah.
So when you are on a controller super competitive, it doesn't always say that you are directly competitive on a wheel, because you have those gas and throttle pedal, and especially I noticed since a couple of years that the throttle input is super important well. And also the braking is super sensitive how you brake, and there is where the biggest gains are made besides driving your normal ideal lines, right, like you do on the controller well. The braking and the throttle usage is so important, and still I need to sometimes adjust myself. Braking is going now well, but the throttle response, that is still something I'm tweaking on. Also on my setup, I'm trying different kind of things to mod it. It's always nice to mod some things as well to your liking. So when I see YouTubers or whatever, everybody is doing some videos about settings or whatever, it's highly personal preference with such things. Yeah, highly personal preference. But that makes it nice as well that you can fine tune to your liking. But it also takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I see.
So are you then looking to get VR for it then as well, then, Erwin?
Well, if PS VR2 is having compatibility with GT7, then I might.
Yeah.
I tried GT Sport on the PS4 Pro, on the PSV, on VR1, and I wasn't really impressed, to be honest. So it were only a limited amount of circuits, limited amount of AI, not multiplayer or whatever. So it was a limited experience as a whole.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to buy VR because it also, with racing games, I don't get motion sickness. But I played Resident Evil and I threw almost everything out that I ate before earlier that day. So I noticed I have some sensitivity for making me nauseous. But on the racing it was nice. But then the experience was so limited that I was like, oh man, I'm not going to do it. So if on GT7 the experience will be the same, if it will be compatible, then I will probably won't get it through, because then it's expensive. It's still like 400 or 500 euros or dollars that you need to spend only on the VR.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's only most likely for one game, right? So then I will rather invest in more Fanatec equipment to upgrade that even more than putting it in a VR glass.
Yeah, I suppose you mean if it's a potential native update for GT7 where they don't change anything other than have VR support, then it's probably a yes. If it's another GT Sport VR, which is a separate game altogether that has limited functions and limited quality, then it's a no.
Yes, correct. Yeah, correct.
Makes sense.
You want to have the full experience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that when I saw some games in the past, Project Cars 2 on the PC, etc., people were mind blown, with the experience that you have. And I think that is the complete package when you have a sim setup like me, and then also with the VR, it can be super highly realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you need the full experience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The thing is, with VR, you really have to judge it with a proper quality hardware. The thing is, the first PlayStation VR wasn't it, and especially people that are vulnerable to nausea and everything, they have a completely different experience when you suddenly put on a quality headset. And from the sounds of it, I mean, the PlayStation VR 2 is that. It has the proper frames, it has the proper resolution, and that solves a lot of the big issues why people get nausea. So it's gonna be interesting. Like you said, in the PC space, when you have a proper VR headset with the right equipment, it can be an amazing experience.
Yes, but that will probably ruin my my upcoming marriage as well, and my job, because I will only be playing.
Just stuck in the VR world forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm getting married on June the 3rd, so maybe up to then it goes okay, but after that.
Awesome stuff. Today's main topics, of course, NetherRealm's secret project. Ed Boon, of course, putting that Twitter post on the other day that simply stated that he was really excited about an upcoming game. that he was creating. He would love to tell us more, but he would get into deep trouble if he did. Second, PlayStation obviously have their upcoming Project Spartacus, and again, yet even more leaks. I say that with a pinch of salt. From more people, of course. I think even Jeff Grubb mentioned the leaks for PlayStation Spartacus and spoke about it on his show, and what that could contain. And of course, GT7's thoughts and expectations. We want to actually start with a much smaller topic that we were slightly discussed before we went live, though, and that was, of course, the addition this month to Game Pass of an awesome game that a lot of people had enjoyed. I didn't give it a FOMO when it released, and that was Guardians of the Galaxy. Boxenberger, you mentioned though that the game itself is absolutely awesome, pretty much one of the standouts to you that caught you by surprise. Is this a big deal for Game Pass?
Oh, it's an amazing addition. I think Guardians of the Galaxy was the biggest surprise for me personally last year. I did not expect that game to be on that quality level. I think the big problem with that game was its initial reveal. When they have revealed that game, that gameplay looked so weird. It had a lot of graphical issues, and it ran really poorly, even in their pre-recorded trailer. And so people didn't have that as on their radar as a big release for that year. But the final product was absolutely awesome. It has multiple modes. The performance mode runs butter smooth at 60 FPS. It has a ray tracing mode for those who favor that. It has a regular quality mode now. It's and it offers really a lot. It is a relatively long single player campaign. I would say you need around about 15 hours, 15 to 18 hours, something in that ballpark to finish that game. And it is really, really good. The conversations in between the characters, the writing is fantastic. I had to stop multiple times playing the game because I had to laugh so hard. It's really, really funny. The combat seems very standard at the beginning of the game, but as you progress, you unlock certain abilities also for the rest of your team, and then it becomes really diverse, and you have to really make use of the environment and everything. It's great. I absolutely enjoyed that game, and so yeah, it's a great addition to Game Pass, and there's no reason for anyone to not play it now. So.
Yeah. Like I say, the only thing I did is I didn't give in to FOMO when it released, mainly because I was buying a lot of other games at the same time.
Not just that though.
Yeah.
Guardians of the not Guardians. Avengers. The whole spiel with Avengers was still going on, and they didn't even advertise that game at all. That's another thing that kind of hurt Guardians. True. If it was actually properly advertised, I think it would have done pretty well, even better than it was. But I'm surprised it was a sleeper hit. I'm actually that it is wild everybody, but that's good.
Yeah. So one thing.
Avengers was,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people still had in their head what happened with Avengers, and then they remembered the initial showing of that game, which was piss poor, and then
is that they put two and two together. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to jump to this one.
I was the same. I didn't buy it day one. I bought it in like the fall sale or something when it was 20 bucks off. But yeah, I regret not buying it day one because it was absolutely fantastic. Great experience.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it, to be honest. I like I say, it's one of them ones that I put off. Not because of Avengers, because I never planned on picking up Avengers anyway. Like I watched the films, but I'm not like a die-hard Marvel like superhero fan. I'm not someone that's going to jump all over that stuff. I'll go and watch the films.
You will when you watch Doctor Strange. Multiverse of Madness.
You know what it is? Like I said, the one that's caught me by surprise in terms of series was Loki. I thoroughly enjoyed the Loki series.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait for season
Loki.
two.
It was
stole my soul. I was like, okay. I was like, this is gonna be bad. This is so goofy. And then it just kept getting better and better and better. It was like, wow, this was actually pretty cool how they did this. And then the quality it continued. You know, a lot of people didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I actually thought that was okay. It's setting up, a movie,
Yeah.
so to speak. But Loki obviously is the king, I would say, out of the series so far. I think What If is also a cool spin-off.
Yeah, I've heard lots of good
show
things
to-
about What If, but I haven't actually started to watch that yet. I know it's an animated
I
series,
watched
but
it. Yeah,
Yeah. I also enjoyed Hawkeye.
I
was
haven't seen that
also
one yet. Was it
okay.
really, really good?
Really, really good. It was good. It worth
So it was
watching.
like it was like in the middle, I guess you could say.
Yeah, in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Hawkeye is not really that great. Like he's a good character
Yeah.
in comics, but in movies he's just not done to that point where it's like, do you really care about Hawkeye or do you care about a
It's
Black
it's
Widow?
even in the series that his sidekick actually steals the show. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah, his replacement. Pretty much his replacement.
I would say the only thing with the only thing that it's kind of become apparent anyways is, and I think it's not anything to do with either Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Square Enix themselves just simply don't care about their Western studios. It's become more and more apparent that they really don't care what happens to these games, and they're gonna just say below expectations, no matter how well it does. They both did tremendously well. Both of them are like, I'm sure Avengers is like over 8 or 10 million players, and even in the end, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is about 8 million as well, and they're like, oh, it's below expectations. I'm like, Final Fantasy did 8 million units. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
like it's exactly on par with your Japanese or Asian studios, but you don't give them the same stick that you give the Western studios. So they've obviously got some problems there.
You would think with the way Sony did the Spider-Man, license with Insomniac, that they would try to do something similar to like Rocksteady with the Avengers. You know what I mean? Go over the top. Like, I don't know if y'all seen the Suicide Squad gameplay. That looks night and day better than what we've gotten with the Avengers. They're putting more attention and more, effort into that.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be something like that they would go for. I mean, even Black Panther is tied to this Avengers game, and a lot of people said that DLC was good, and I'm like, this is what I wanted Rocksteady to make.
Yeah.
I wanted Rocksteady to make a Black Panther game or a Spawn game. I wouldn't mind. Like,
The
just
one thing you
characters
can
that
definitely
that
be
can
sure
pop
of
the
though
game.
is, I mean, yes, they've pushed it back, and obviously if they think the quality needs strengthening before they release it, then great. But the one thing you can be sure of is that Rocksteady will release a good game. They've got a good track record. So it's kind of one of them studios you can pretty much rely on to release a good game, at least a game that plays well. Stories always.
And like BitCloud said, the gameplay looked great actually.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Open world Batman kind
Just
of
having
style.
fun with it, Very
Yeah,
chaotic.
exactly.
And it's good because they came off the movie. The movie was good. I don't know if y'all saw the Suicide Tattoo.
Yeah, the second one was awesome. Second one was really good.
Yeah.
That was
Better
just
than the
fun.
first
It
one,
was
yeah.
just a fun film though. It was like, don't take it seriously because it's not. It is not a serious film at all.
They did kind of take it serious with the Weasel guy. That thing was like the creepiest
Yes.
thing on the movie. I'm like, what is that? It's like, you find out he's alive. It's like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, you think he's dead the entire way through, and he's like, nope, no, he's fine. He's just coughing up.
It's like nightmare fuel. I'm like, you supposed to be a damn superhero?
Yeah,
I mean, I was surprised when Rocksteady announced that they take on the Suicide Squad as an IP. I didn't expect that. But so far, what we've seen looks great. So, yeah.
yeah. Looking forward to it. Very much
They
looking
pretty
forward
much
to it.
established they could do anything at this point.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Maybe Ant-Man, maybe Spawn, maybe Punisher. I mean, there's a lot of characters they can.
There's a whole list of IPs that need redone, and I think even Batman deserves a new shiny new game at this point.
I mean, Gotham Knights, it's coming out this year.
Yeah, yeah. A
He's
Batman
so
game without
Gotham Knights.
Batman. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Is it?
You didn't like Gotham Knights, what they've shown?
I don't like the fact that they're okay. So what kind of breaks the immersion for me? It's the fact that you see, okay, you're Batman, obviously, so you're so used to just going around beating the hell out of everybody. The fact that I see a counter over somebody's head, indicating that they're a higher level than me, and I'm Batman, I got all the gadgets and everything, is kind of immersion breaking for me. I don't like that. aspect of the game.
Yeah, more like an RPG Batman where you've got to
Yeah,
level up to beat
they
it.
said that they go more in the RPG route, that you have to level up your character, get
Which
a skill
is
tree and everything. I'm still looking forward to it. What they've shown so far looks fantastic. So
I mean, yeah, the vehicles look good. Like yeah, all that stuff looks good. It's just like,
yeah,
why that, why that design choice? Why not just have freedom? You just upgrade, play your own type of way, type of thing. And also, I think Rocksteady spoiled us obviously with Red Hood, because the Red Hood design they went with in this one, I mean, obviously it's comic accurate, but it's like I kind of want that other one that we got in Arkham Knight, where it's just the crazy high tech helmet that he had. I actually like that
Yeah.
one. Maybe maybe they'll add that at some point, maybe, but I doubt it. But I like that customization wise. So that was an option.
What is the release date of the game? Does it already have a release
they
date?
said
or
they
only
said
2022?
2022. Rumor had it that it is early 22. So, but we are already in March and
But we
haven't
didn't
heard anything.
we didn't see so much of the game, right? Besides one real game clip.
Oh no! They've shown actually quite a lot. About 2 years ago, to be honest,
Yes, yeah.
they had continued gameplay, 50 minutes straight from the solo campaign, from the co-op campaign, different characters, different boss fights. They've shown a lot, and then then they went silent because they moved the game from 21 to 2022,
Yes.
and then we got, what was it, like in early January this year or end of December, we got that story trailer, which was awesome, like 3 minutes long. In engine it was. So yeah, but we haven't heard the release date yet. So.
No.
Yeah. Well, one of the ones that's going to tail on, the first topic that's going to tail onto this is going to be the PlayStation Spartacus debate. I haven't seen it. I don't know, Erwin, whether or not you managed to read through that article and have a look at some of the stuff. I know BitCloud, you've definitely seen it, and you'll have definitely seen what was apparently included within the 3 tiers of Spartacus.
Gardens for months.
What do you make of it? Do you think it's just, by the looks of things, to me, that's more like a hybrid service where they've just clumped them both together and repackaged it? Is that?
I think that was always kind of like the deal they probably going to do. They're just going to add like perks on top of perks type of thing for it. Obviously, $70. Yeah, they're doing well. Games are $70. People are willing to buy them, but not a, like not a crazy amount are willing to get into it for $70. That's why people are extra picky about these games.
Yeah.
And it goes to show, like, all it takes is one bad game, and that screws up a lot of the people's, mindsets of the pricing. So when you look at the pricing and all that, I love the internet, by the way. I love Twitter, because these are there going, oh, Jeff Grubb doesn't know what he's talking about, it's fake. And I'm sitting going, someone who, is in a lot of stuff, I can tell you, it's a lot of change you need to prepare yourself for. I keep trying to warn people about it. They don't want to listen, but as far as these tiers are concerned, is it going to be $15, $20, $50? Honestly, Sony can really throw any price they want in those 3, as long as it's in a price range that makes sense for everybody else who will be willing to pay. Now, granted, are you willing to pay $70 every single game? I doubt you're willing to do that day one, right? But maybe they do like a $70 price range for a year, and you get, or a month, and you get everything. You know what I'm saying? That is something that they could do. Looking at the way it was set up, it was PS4, 3, 2, and 1 games that was going to be included with this, basically Legacy Back and Pat. I talked about this in Patents a long time ago, that it was a system they were working on to do something like that. And so if they did master that and go with it, then that would go back into the infrastructure and what they're going with them buying Azure service from Microsoft. You got to remember that. So it makes sense to tag that in. As far as everything else is concerned, like what he said, like, if you're a Plus subscriber, you're automatically pretty much in. You're just not in the hierarchy type of one where you have to get the crazy PS5 benefits of it, so to speak, where you get extra stuff of that nature. It's up in the air at that point. Honestly, it really is up in the air. Are they going to do day and date? I do stand by what I said multiple times. I would be surprised by the end of this generation we're not in day and dates of some sorts. In anything, whether it be a service or whether it be PC or what, because I've never seen Sony this open, I guess you could say,
Yeah,
or
makes
this
a change.
willing to
Makes a
share
change.
everything, And Jim Ryan, a lot of people don't like Jim Ryan, but Jim Ryan sounds an awful lot like Phil. And a lot
Yes.
of his comments, he does a lot of his comments, and people might go, "Oh, well, that's just basic, business." It's not basic business. That right there is just you adapting with the market. The market's changed to that particular degree. It's not all about just counting hardware sales. Sure, you can count the hardware sales, but that's half of it at this point. The biggest thing you see people talking about is engagement numbers. Am I not right? That's all people talk about.
Yes.
So, and that's where Sony's always had an issue with. Sony doesn't have a crazy engagement sort of numbers, especially when it comes to multiplayer sort of range. In fact, they pretty much relied on Call of Duty as a crutch. I see this all the time. And them buying Bungie makes sense to fix their issues with multiplayer games. Again, games like Resistance, we keep seeing to get tweeted about, which is like the worst kept secret we know is coming back. That's going to come back and it's going to get its multiplayer fixed. SOCOM, I can most certainly see happening for sure.
Yeah.
And whatever else games are going to do. We don't know what Haven Studio is working on, but that game might have a multiplayer of some sort, right? We know Deviation Games is a studio made out of former Call of Duty developers. Again, multiplayer focus. They can have the guidance of Bungie. And you have already confirmation for them that they're going to have 10 live service games. So it's like they already see the trend and they're following the trend and they're clearly adding on to the trend of what we're going to be seeing throughout the year. So that's where I'm at with the whole thing.
Yeah. What do you think they need to include on these tiers going forward? Do you think adding simply just game trials is going to be enough for the top tier, or do you think they're going to do it on a case by case basis and add some of their first party releases to?
If they were smart, you would add the first party to this on top of pretty much everything we just said. The game trials, we definitely need those as well. I'm surprised those disappeared. That was like one of the coolest things last year. You can try a game before you actually fork up the $50 or $60. That does need to most certainly come back. That needs to.
Yeah.
So I would definitely agree that they should add on to that.
Definitely. We have a super chat just come in there from Mr. Joanna Dark for $5. Thank you for that. He asks, what are your thoughts on the game trial offerings? Is this a way for PS gamers to try before they buy? Do you think they will get a discount as a member?
You kind of already get discounts as a member at Plus. You don't pay like 70 off the bat. You save a little bit, but you do get a discount, so to speak, as a Plus member. Is it going to change anything? It depends, man. It really depends. Like if the game is really badly optimized, I don't think Sony's first party you have to worry about that type of stuff, right? It's mostly third party games you would have to look into that. Now, granted, games do launch buggy. It happens all the time, but I don't think it will be to that extent where it will be bad for anybody if it happened in that case.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen. Go on.
Yeah, the thing is, there was a time, if you guys remember, like 20 years ago, when we had trials for every game. In every magazine, we had the discs and we had trials and demos.
I miss those days.
And they disappeared from the face of the earth. And the reason is that marketing research data has shown that demos reduce the sales numbers. People try it out, they don't like it, they talk about that with their friends, word to mouth, and word to mouth is bigger than ever before now with social media and everything.
Yeah.
So
I think social media kind of killed it, to be honest with you, Box.
Yeah.
You know how people are quick to go and say, "Oh, the game's trash." They'll play a quick little trial and just running. Yeah. Like a little 5 minutes. I paid 5 minutes. That's enough. I'm like, no, it's not. But okay.
Exactly. You need just one dude posting something, bug or whatever, and it goes viral, and that's why I don't think Sony will actually do that with the trials. They know about these things. I don't think they will do that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brudeberger. And I think it will always cost them a lot of time to create an extra demo, right? Because that will take some time and
that's the other thing. Yeah,
and money as well, and resources and whatnot. So I think that's one, and those are all built, so they most likely won't show the end product. So it can be indeed buggy or whatever, right? So then the the mouth to mouth or the trash comments on Twitter or whatever will be gigantic.
You
So
think
I
it could
think,
be event based? Maybe they could do an event based for something like that.
yeah,
Would it not be?
Yeah.
Would it not be
Spider-Man,
more
like
along the lines
Spider-Man
of?
reveal, Last of
Yeah.
Us reveal type of thing. Hey guys, just a quick trial. You want to try the trial? It's gonna be
Yeah.
available after the show. You know what I'm saying? They do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I could see. I
Yes.
actually I made a video almost 2 years ago about this, and I wonder why people or developers don't do that stuff. Like at an E3,
Yeah,
they have those demos already, or at a Gamescom, and why
Yeah,
don't
just-
they have
Yeah.
special
Digital
special
versions.
user base that they
Yeah.
grant access to those demos for like 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, and it's not like they're not getting paid for it. If you're a subscriber, that should be an instant like, hey guys, 24 hours, you want to try this out?
Yeah.
Boom, there's your
Exactly.
access. Or when they do the E3, I remember it was something like Sony tried to do like E3 experience on your PlayStation. Yeah, I remember that. Where you've got like a VR headset, you can like act like you're in the crowd type of thing, but most of the time it's just like you just streaming or watching the show.
Mhm.
Imagine they did that. You actually been
Yeah.
able to play it. I'm saying like it's possible. Is it going to happen for every single game? Probably
No,
not.
no,
I can
no.
see it being like a crazy event type of push thing. Like if
Yeah.
people like to see, like what they see with Gran Turismo, for example. Hey guys, Gran Turismo. Here's a 5-minute demo you can play this of. You know, similar to what we saw with Resident Evil Village. You got to play the game before it launched, and hell, even Elden Ring, you got to do the network test. So why not? I mean, it's possible.
Do you not think it's going to be, if they're going to do game trials, it would be more along the lines of the way EA do their game trials so far, where they do like a, depending on the size of the game, the first, I think it's 10 hours or
10
something.
hours?
10 hours?
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be a limit. Like if they're smart, just pull a Capcom. You know, have like what was it, the 7-minute time or 10-minute time, whatever, depending on the game is, and it's basically the full game. Right? It's basically the full game. You're playing it, but it cuts off. It cuts off, and you just can't go any further. I like the way, and it's crazy because the way Capcom handled Resident Evil 2's marketing was brilliant. I want that for every one of their games, the way they handled that. But that's the way you should go. Really,
Yeah.
just have it like that.
But I think with a 10-hour trial, of those single players games that are maybe 20 hours or 30
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, it's a little bit long.
They such a big chunk, so most likely it will be multiplayer games, right? They have a future focus on that part.
Yes.
So a multiplayer game you can play for 10 hours, right? So that will be maybe the goal.
Yeah, no problem.
So that is probably what they are working on. Single player games, if you play those 10 hours of The Last of Us 2, for example, or 3,
Yeah.
when it releases, man, then you play already a huge chunk of that. So I don't think that will happen. But if they have another Killzone or SOCOM or whatever thing that they are possibly working on,
Yeah.
then you can play 10 hours. I mean, with Halo, we had those tests, right? Those test fights.
Yeah. I think it would definitely make sense because they've got a plan to have 10 games as a service games, and I think in those circumstances, a 10-hour trial of those would make complete sense because you barely scratch the surface with games as a service games in 10 hours. You don't even, it's not even close. You're like only just starting.
Exactly.
You've got like 4 levels.
You finished the tutorial.
Yes. Woohoo! But Erwin, what do you think they need to add to these tiers? Because of course it would be in a competitive space now. Game Pass is now, should we say, it's got its footing. It's definitely got its user base now. It's obviously still growing, but it already has over 25 million subscribers. When you're going into a space now that is going to start doing things like that, Nintendo kind of have their online thing, but again they do their own stuff, and it's nowhere near the same equivalent. They're just doing back compatible as part of your online service. What do you think they need to, in a competing space, what do they need to add to the service?
Well, if I see now the rumors and what tiers they have, I think it's quite underwhelming, to be honest. Also, that you can play all the games. Yeah, that's something that we can do already for free for so many years already. So I think the offering now at the moment, also cloud gaming, yeah, okay, that's nice. But personally, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but personally, I'm not investing that in an extra tier. So I think the current availability in the tiers and what it offers, I don't think it's so impressive. And Game Pass set the standard. And if we believe Jim Lyon, what he says, that they want to have their games out as much as possible, like music and films, etc., we need to listen to his words because he talks a lot of maybe strange things or whatever. But those words were not for nothing that he mentioned that. So he
Yeah.
wants that people enjoy it as much as possible. And how do you do that? By getting it day and day in Game Pass, and they will see that a lot of PlayStation gamers will buy the game anyway, right?
Yeah.
As we look at Twitter, at least that's only a small percentage, but most of them will buy the game anyway, right?
Yeah.
But it's a certain standard that Game Pass has made there, the border. So if you want to compete with them, you need to do at least the same thing, and then maybe slightly different, or you need to go above and beyond that. And knowing PlayStation, they will probably do something good with it. But I think really day and day should be, let's say, their target to meet their own KPIs that they have.
Yeah.
So, and that is to let people enjoy it as much as possible. And that's the only thing what you can do is open it up and let everybody play the game.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, it's the day and date thing. Originally, it was a myth that hurt sales, but it's
Yes.
actually turned out it's quite the opposite. It's actually the sales are better than they ever have been for games, because people are able to try them first, and because they still have a notion that the game might at some point leave the service. We know things like Forza Motorsport, etc., will eventually leave the service because of musical rights
Licensing.
and things.
Yeah.
You still have to. There is still further down the line, 4 years, say, for a Forza game.
Yes.
You still have to have that in your library.
But it's easy also, if you have a game that you can play in your subscription model, so they will get money from that.
Yeah.
And if they release content with all kind of DLC stuff like that, people will rebuy the game or or just buy the DLC. But also, it will give a lot of more people the opportunity to buy such DLC, right?
Yeah.
So instead of all having a fixed, let's say, 10 million people that maybe buy hard copies, or you have 30 or 40 million playing the game, and that also a percentage buy all the DLC or whatever stuff that's in the game, you need to see it in, I think, in that broad perspective, and that's also why they want to have or want to release in the coming years 10 multiplayer games on that part, so a lot of people can play and a lot of people can buy in-game credits, and that's where Destiny or Bungie is probably their help with.
Yeah.
I think that gives the opportunity to, let's say, 50 million people play the game, and then a certain percentage buy the in-game DLC stuff. And I think that make more money in the end, on the long run, combined with your subscription model, than only having hard copies that's,
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that's what Jim Ryan's trying to say as well. He's like, yeah, granted, we ship 15 to 20 million from major IPs on console, and that's great. But that's still not that many people in the grand scheme of things, which is why he wants across many places. And of course, you would assume Spartacus won't just be a PlayStation-only subscription service. You would potentially look to see them introduce Spartacus to PC. Obviously, introducing some of their games. They've already got them on Steam. They're doing extremely well on Steam. And obviously they've seen that. They've seen how well their games are doing in the PC market, and they're going, now we understand. And this is what we need to do. So our games will release, yeah.
Just testing the waters, and they see a lot of turnover coming in.
Yeah.
So they are not crazy, only they are more or less followers in that part. And that's what you see in my business as well, that some are really innovative and really wants to be the first ones to have a go-to-market plan on that part. And some companies are just followers.
Yeah.
And I think when they are releasing something like that, with the current perks that, let's say, are known, how they are described now, I don't think that's something they are aiming for, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree. Boxy, what would you say they need to do to compete?
I mean, Erwin has already phrased it beautifully. With this, if
You're
this
welcome,
comes, no, if this turns out to be true, it is not really a competition. What they are basically doing is what my biggest criticism about Sony has been ever since they started this generation, and that is their value proposition. And it's really not good, but if it is true. They charge for backward compatibility, what you have on the other platform, for free since 2015.
Yeah.
On the other platform, you get every game day and date, first party game a day and date. Actually, you get that already for the 10 euro per month tier. So on Xbox, yeah. It comes down again to the value proposition. I've been quoted many times on my sayings on the video. One company has made gaming more expensive than ever before, and the other one has made it cheaper than ever before. And if they want to compete in the subscription service region, they have to come up with the same value proposition. Now, that's the thing is the thinking of me as a gamer. The harsh reality is what BitCloud has said. Sony can charge whatever they want. People seem to pay it. People pay the 80 euros, which is $93.
And it's the same. Yeah, I was going to say it's the same for other companies like the likes of Apple, and we have to. And this is the only reason I'm comparing Apple and Sony is because it's a big brand name, and because it's a big brand name and it has that position in society. Exactly. They get a little bit more, should we say, breathing space from the fans because they're used to paying more.
Yeah, I'm saying when you're literally prepped and set to and to pay this for so long. I mean, hey, they're like, okay, you know what it really is too, though, is the PS4 gen. I think nobody can refute that. The PS4 gen was just so good for them.
Yes,
that is like people, they built that trust. So I'm going with this. They built a trust where it's like, okay, you know what, $10. Whatever, I pay an additional $10 because of what you dropped in general. Not to mention you got, crazy. This is why, again, why I say Microsoft should have a superhero of their own, because Sony not just has Spider-Man now, they have Wolverine. That is a big deal. And people don't understand that. And especially when it's done right, they're saying it's mature rated. You need something crazy. I would say you would need a Batman. You would need a Spawn or something. You know what I mean? Something crazy to compete with that. But again, that's just the trust they built, so to speak, with the community. And when they see that and the quality that you're getting, like look at even if you're not a fan of Horizon, right? You cannot deny what you're seeing on that game is.
I mean, I was going to say, even playing it on the PS4 Pro, and mine's like
crazy. I love it.
Yeah. The water, everything. Like if you put it in photo mode, you can see sweat coming off her face. Like, dude, that
the machines, the detail on the machines is what blows me away so many times. So often when I'm in combat, I pause and go in photo mode, and then you take a closer look at the machines and the level of detail with the cogs, and they hit them. And they actually, and all the cogs going into each other, and they turn in the actually correct direction, how it would work in real life physics. It's the level of detail is insane. No doubt, Sony has earned their position. They have put out quality games for years. They have been on the forefront. What I always say is what's Xbox's biggest problem is localization and marketing. And Sony has been top notch ever since the PlayStation 2 generation.
They legit mastered it. When you have them partnering with Marvel, and Marvel literally taking inspiration from them making custom trains and buses for a video game, that's when you know their marketing is on another level, when they just push it.
100%.
Even with their CGI like trailers, I'm talking about where they be flipping back and forth with. It's like that stuff is just well produced. It's like it is. You know what to look, to get.
Yeah. And they try to reach the general public with their marketing. What Microsoft is doing, they do marketing via Twitter. But if you're not on Twitter, it is kind of hard to know about Xbox and Game Pass.
Yeah.
I dare say that probably 70-80% of the gamers here in Germany don't know what Game Pass is.
I've done more advertising for Game Pass than other people have.
I firmly believe that. Because
unless you go into GameStop and you see it on the poster, and that's the thing, a lot of people don't even go to GameStop.
Not even there. Even if you go to GameStop, you have that small Xbox corner in
a little booth
side of the store. That's about it. And when let's take Horizon Forbidden West as an example. When this came out, the advertisement here in Germany were all over the place. I've seen billboards, I've seen TV ads, and even internet ads. Yeah, I know Google is putting them up, but I've seen on basically every website I visit, I see Horizon Forbidden West advertisement. Obviously, that's because I search a lot of video game stuff. When Halo Infinite came out, I have seen nothing.
Yeah,
No
I see
internet
it. Still nothing.
advertisements, no billboards, no TV ads, no nothing outside of Twitter. Some tweets, hey, the game is out, and that's it. So that market share, how it is fairly earned from Sony, and that's why they can be that cocky and come out at the beginning of the generation and say, hey, we charge $10 more, and people will gonna pay because they are familiar with that brand, and most of them probably don't even know what they could have on the on an Xbox console with Xbox Game Pass. So yeah, that's the harsh reality. And so it's always when we talk, can Sony do a Spartacus with these kind of tiers? Yes, they can, and they will be successful with it.
Out of it. That's the thing. And
exactly.
Only time I hear Game Pass when, like, again, like you just said, Twitter, maybe YouTube, because we talk about it as content creators, but it's like you don't see it. You don't see crazy commercials for it like you would see for a PlayStation or an Xbox like exclusive type of game. And it's like, why is that? This is your big, your big play to get into people's houses. So I don't know, man. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll change that mindset. But hopefully they need to.
They need, the 100% they need to. It's like we've all said, localized marketing for Xbox for us is non-existent. I'm absolutely guaranteed every time a new PlayStation comes out, it will be on the bus days before, if not weeks before it's released. On local public transport, it's all over posters, it's all over stores, there's big marketing things everywhere. Xbox are game releases, and you've got to ask people if they know that a game's coming out. No, but Halo's out today. Oh, is it? No, I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's their biggest IP. Yeah. So, definitely.
I saw you get a super chat, Drewski.
Yeah, it was a good one actually. It's Soulblow Gaming, $5 super chats. Thanks for that. He says the fact that Sony has or puts out these awesome games, do you think that's a disadvantage for future sequels? Essentially saying for future sequels, being that people will then expect more. So do you think it essentially gives them, should we say, a little bit of a tougher time trying to just better what they've already done, being that the games that they release are such high quality in the first place? So if you have a look at Horizon, obviously that was, again, critically acclaimed. People loved it. If you have a look at The Last of Us, critically acclaimed. People loved it. If you have a look at Uncharted, like in general, the franchise, critically acclaimed, people loved it. Spider-Man, critically acclaimed. Do you think the pressures will eventually get to the studios in thinking we have to get better everything, like not just a little bit better, but far outdo the previous one in order to maintain that?
I mean, it's going to get to that point eventually where you're just going to see refinements and perfection of craft type of thing. Like Horizon is a testament to that. Just the added additions courtesy of the hardware, better, water physics, better attention to detail. I mean, good God, do I even have to go into the machines and what they've done variety wise there and quality?
I'm personally surprised on how good that game looks on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And granted, the thing's taken.
We never saw PS5. It was all PS4 footage.
Granted, it's like it's taking off when I'm playing it, and it's like I can't hear myself think. But but the game itself, like I'm astounded on just how much they've managed to pack into the previous generation version of that game. Erwin, I'm sure when you get round to it, because obviously we game share on that.
Yes.
When you get round to playing it, I think you'll understand as well. Like that game the level of detail compared to even the first one is went up a notch. Even now,
no animations.
I expected the water physics and the water to not be as good on the second one.
Yeah,
I expected it to not be as good on like the water stuff to not be as good on the PS4 as it was on the PS5 when I played it. But the water was, I would say, not equally, but it looked extremely similar to the PS5 version and what I'd seen in PS5's videos compared to PS4. It was still very, very good looking. It wasn't this like choppiness. Like I mentioned at the beginning of God of War in the first section where you're going down the
Oh, you're
stream. The
gonna
water
love that,
looked,
by the way.
the
Yeah,
water
you're gonna
looked,
love Ragnarok.
yeah. But the water looked a bit iffy on the beginning part of God of War. And that was one of the other things I'd seen, and like when he was going down the lake and stuff. And I thought the water in God of War could have been improved. And obviously in the first Horizon there wasn't as much water, but again they've just took a step up. And I would say it's the water physics and the way the water looks in that game is on par with Sea of Thieves, but a different styling. Obviously, Sea of Thieves has still got the crown for how great water can look in different varying lights and shades, and how great the sea is and how vast it is, and its physics and everything that goes along with it. That's another level entirely, but they're both different styles. Sea of Thieves, of course, is a different kind of artistic style to the ultra realistic version that they went for with Horizon, which is very much like more of an actual liquid type of.
Yeah, I would say there's more substance, so to speak, to the look of Horizons, because you can see actual, you know what I mean, like structures and
Yeah.
like let's say water life, quote unquote, like moss, stuff like that in the water. You can see that stuff clear, and it actually reacts again like an actual water would. So, you know, they just did so much with it. And again, it will get to that point where we're not really necessarily wild all the way. It just be more refinements of the stuff that we come to suspect. Like if you look at Uncharted went through so many different editions and so many like different techniques they've done it. Like they got the ice pick, the little pick thing. Then they went to the whip or the little lasso, so they got from Indiana Jones. So at that point, it was like they were just having fun with the franchise as it progressed. But before, it was very bare bone-ish. You know what I mean? Like the first one's very bare bone, and then just turn into this epic thing. So, I expect that from a lot of their games. I'm not really expecting the crazy outdo themselves every single time. It would just get to that point where it's, I guess, Fast and the Furious thing, right? You just know what to expect. And you're just like, okay, it's going to look better as you go.
I think that is a great point. The surprise factor isn't the same with the sequel. Let's take, for instance, God of War. When that came out in 2018, it was the surprise for everyone. They reinvented that franchise, and will God of War Ragnarok have the same effect? Probably not, because we know now what to expect.
They said a little too much when they said that this was the one that's going to end the Norse mythology. That kind of was like, why?
That's what I thought.
Why are we going with 3? I thought it was going to be 3. It was going to be this, going to be Thor, because they made. First of all, I love what they did with Thor in 2018. I don't know if y'all noticed, he had the little cloak and stuff on. He had the hammer.
Yes,
that looks fantastic. That's a boss design. Did we see the official design? It was like, okay, and you're supposed to see Odin, but we don't have Odin. We don't have confirmation of Odin, so it's like they're talking about Egypt for the next. I'm like,
I'm still holding hope that that obviously Thor. We will see Odin. I think Thor's going to be a bit like the Stranger in the first reboot, where he's like the boss that you fight for the vast majority, but then obviously you end up fighting these other huge bosses all the way through, and it's not even his final form. I think Thor's pretty much going to be that. It's going to be you'll be fighting him for the vast majority, like to and fro.
Unless they do something crazy, like in 2018, I think all you guys' jaws dropped, like mine when you saw Athena when he was on the boat and he went to go get the axe. I mean, not axe, the blades. I guess. So maybe Athena plays a role into this somehow, or Freya. We know Freya is out to kill him at this point. Is Freya gonna, come back as a Valkyrie, because that's what she was trying to become at the end of 2018. So it's so many things they can do with that game. But I mean, for this to end the Norse mythology, it kind of hurts. We saw the stare down between the two God of War, which I thought was great in the trailer. We saw all those, but it's like
I agree.
He looked at him like, I'm the God of War. No, I'm the God of War. He looked down at him. So.
Another awesome $10 super chat here in from John Wolfs. Thank you very much for that. He says, hello, Midweek Mix-Up crew. Enjoying the conversation, gentlemen, and just wanted to show my support. Sony should offer Crunchyroll to add extra value if they're not doing day and date. Thanks and stay safe. I think adding things like that, because obviously Gamepass have what they class as perks. I think adding something like a Crunchyroll into there, or even kind of extended durations for like a 6-month trial to it, or something like that. I think
I
that
can see them doing it. I just don't. I just hope they don't censor nothing, because a lot of people have been really talking about them censoring a lot of Japanese shows or whatever, or content in general.
have they.
I don't want them to do that. Yeah, like there's one game that they said it was too graphic because like the chicks pulling out the face.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you heard about that. They pulling out the face and it's like, oh no, we're not gonna do that on the PlayStation. I'm like, Sony, you do realize that you're supporting Dead Space. Dead Space is very
Martha
gruesome.
is dead.
The good thing about
you're referring to Martha is dead,
Martha-
right?
the good
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
about Martha is Dead is they did actually release a patch just after Wilmy Hood was playing, and he got it on PlayStation, and they released a patch pretty much on live date, that allowed you to choose whether or not that to play that sequence.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they've actually corrected it. Thank God. But yeah, so it gives people the option now. They can actually choose to skip that and not include that in the playthrough, even though it is an integral part of the story. When you have watched that scene through with it, it does make sense. You're not just ripping someone's face off for the sake of it, and it actually makes sense in the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm glad they changed that, but they can't have to keep doing this every time. They can't censor something and go back and correct it, and just
We
just
have
give
ratings
people
for a
the
reason.
option. Do you want to play it or do you not want to play it? And same for the animes. This anime has this in it. Do you want to?
Didn't Gears have that option too? That it's when you start the campaign that it asks you whether you want to turn down the gore or not.
Yes,
I think it was in Gears 2 or something.
I think
So,
you can. In the vast majority of them, I think you can choose to turn it off. I
Yeah.
think even in Gears now, you can choose to, because you can actually choose to not have like limbs come off and things like that. It's just a case
Yeah,
of they
yeah.
just fall down. I don't know why you would want that. half of the brilliance of it is feeling the crunch of like defeating the enemy and his head pops and things like that. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Shout out to Muppets, who has been a member now for 3 months. He asks, Dutch, if the next God of War has a beard, I guess it's okay. Yes. Yeah, it'll be okay. Yeah, I'll let him off. Or is that a Gears of
Without
War?
any hard winds. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear me. But yeah, I think personally to more to John Wolf's point, I think they will add more perks, and I think they will add things like Crunchyroll and things like that to it. I think we'll obviously see close at the time, but they're definitely going to add a little bit more value in other areas where gaming isn't involved.
Discord, maybe?
Yeah, definitely esports.
Well, that was already coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that could be part of it. Maybe they'll add like that whole nitro system as a perk.
Yes.
Plus, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that would
Maybe
make
some
sense.
movies? Maybe some Sony movies, right? Maybe?
Yeah. Discounts on films and things like that. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, then let me ask you guys the last question to close this topic off.
Yes.
What would it take for you to subscribe to the service?
Personally, because obviously we've already got PS Plus. I've never been interested in PS Now because the quality of PS Now is not good enough. In terms of, yes, you can download some games, but the games I've got, I only own a PlayStation for exclusives. There is no other reason for me to have that PlayStation. So whatever's in PS Now is not something that I require. And the streaming service, 720p, and the input lag's pretty poor, and it is not great. And the download, again, the games that you can download on PS Now are even if I had a PlayStation 5, like the game that's going into their Shadow Warrior 3, you're not getting a next-gen version of it. You're getting the PS4 version of it, and that's happened like several times now. When they've put a game into the service, it's been the last-gen version, even for the next-generation players. I think one of the things that would need to improve is if you're putting games into the service, it needs to match the system that player is on. And then secondly, it would have to be things like day and date for me, because I already purchased the games anyway. And it doesn't stop me, even as an Xbox player, it doesn't stop me from buying the games, because I still bought the Ultimate Edition, the full Ultimate Edition of Forza Horizon. I didn't just get the expansion. Still bought Halo Infinite. I still bought Gears. I've still bought Sea of Thieves. all of the games that I'm interested in, I will still buy. The benefits of Game Pass to me is when they bring out these expansions, and I'm getting them cheaper than everybody else because I've got Game Pass. So there's always still benefits. And then the third party stuff that drops in that I'm unsure of buying, then I get to play that first. And if I think, yeah, great, then I can play this. I can play it for a while, see if I like it. If I want to buy it, then I can, and I get it at a discount. So I think PlayStation need to offer, for me to invest in it, over just PS Plus, which is what we have now anyway. It would have to be day and date, and then have anything that they do add in be the next generation version of that. I match the system the player is on. That is an essential. They can't just keep putting previous gen versions on.
Yeah, for me, you have to change the whole mindset of just streaming only. I
Yeah.
can't do this whole streaming only thing. I tried Infamous, the original on there, because I gave it a shot, and it's funny. People were damage controlled it. They were like, "Oh, get good internet." I have I have not Google Fiber. I have gigabit speed here, and the input lag is it's not fun. It sounds cool on paper, but it's not good in real life terms.
Even remote play is not that great. I've got gigabit internet as well, and I was playing on remote play the other day, and it wasn't great.
It's just a weird experience. Like, when you press the home button to look at your PlayStation menu or PS4 menu, it shows the PS3 one, and it's all like streamed and pixelated on the stream service. It's a weird experience, like in general, to do that. It's better off just having a system where you can download every single one and play them. And again, that might take time, but that's the thing. We're willing to pay for that if you can make that work, and you can guarantee everybody their library. Like, there's a lot of games that people still want to play and probably don't own the systems anymore for, right? They want to play like games like Metal Gear Solid 4. They want to play the OG Jack and Daxters, in their prime or whatever. And I do think that they need to really look into fixing that and having an option. Day and dates or whatever with the service, again, it would be great. That would be great plus for it. Are they going to do it? Maybe not initially. Maybe they'll do the whole, the month type of thing where it's like every 6 months, 5 months, whatever. I do see this time gap that we keep waiting for games going to whether a different platform or service. It gets shorter. It gets shorter every year.
It'll get shorter until it is. Yeah.
Before it was like 2 years wait type of thing, 2-3 years. Now we're at less than a year type of thing. It's like, it's going to get there. They know what they're doing. They know how to get you in there. They know how to get the most out of themselves, and they know they're going to do. Because at this point, because Sony really wants to push PC, and a PC gamer knows just as much as we do. If a game is on discount in GameStop for like $5, are you really going to pay $50 for it on PC immediately? No, you're going to wait for that Steam sale. When that Steam sale hits, when you get it for what it's truly worth right here in realistic terms in these stores, and that's when you buy it. And that's where Sony's seeing this 250% return on investment type of thing, because they're buying these games. They're supporting the games. But they really want more out of that. They want to push that even further. And I do see that being a big deal. Hopefully, like by the end of the gen, at that point, that they'll do it. And people might say it hurts the box. I said this with Kate Yeager. Kate Yeager brought this up, and it makes sense. And it's something that can't be refuted. These are gaming consoles. Gaming consoles are just boxes so you can experience the content. That's it. That's all it is. The box will always exist as long as there is a reason for a box to exist. And people go, "Oh, I'm going to jump the PC." Dutch, I don't know if Boxenberger has a PC. I don't know if Erwin's got a PC, but PC, there's something as simple as a driver not being updated can screw up your experience all the way on PC where the game doesn't launch. On consoles, it's literally a straight day one patch. The worst you'll probably experience on consoles with these day one patches is like, maybe some stutter, like some issue, typical bug issues, but you don't experience stuff where the game doesn't launch.
Or you click on it and it does nothing.
Nothing. Exactly.
Console gaming has always been that convenient experience. Simply, plug and play.
Plug and play.
That's really it. Plug and play will always be that thing that sells a console. Period. And there's always going to be those people that go, "Well, that's what makes it better than PC." Now, obviously, the realistic people who know the consoles and know the hardware, we're gonna hear you, and we're gonna laugh, and we're gonna be on the PCs. But again, there's just more hassles with it. Like me right now, my PC, my water cooler is doing this damn LED effect right now. It's basically telling me that it's time to replace it. Oh, Jesus Christ! So I got to install this.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Very
soon.
nice.
Got to install that, but it's giving me this damn LED sign. It's been overheating stuff, messing with streams. But again, these are basic issues you'll run into with PC, you know, and people don't get it. You know, like something as simple, drivers, something as simple as CPU, you know, coolers, all that stuff can affect your long-term performance and everything. And this is why I laugh again, where we go back to performance and everything. Sony made this decision to cheap out on the heatsink of the PS5. I don't know if y'all remember that in the newer models.
Yeah.
A lot of people going, oh, it works. You don't trust Sony engineers. Not that I don't trust Sony engineers. Whenever you cheap out on something that is essential, and Dutch, you know this, for a CPU, if you cheap out on anything involving that CPU in terms of cooling it and keeping it efficient, what do you affect? Longevity. We don't know how long those newer models are going to last. Yeah, they're getting them out there, but here's the thing. At what cost? How long are they going to work? How long do you have for them to work? And that's the thing. People go, oh, you don't know anything, you know, all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, okay. All it takes is one game. All it takes one good game to push that box to its limit. And that's when you start seeing the issues like throttling. That's one of the main things you see with consoles when they get pushed to their break. They start, you know, being choppy. Games start crashing, blue screening. Consoles don't want to turn on anymore. Safe mode's constantly happening. That's because it doesn't have a proper solution in place. And these are things that they need to fix and look out for. So
I was going unless you're like me and BitCloud and potentially even an Archie, where we're semi decent at taking apart tech and fixing it ourselves. For the average consumer, if there's an overheat issue and longevity issue of the heatsink, like you mentioned before, where we could take it apart, we could clean it up again with these ones though, having liquid cooling. It is liquid cooling on the CPU as opposed to thermal paste.
Liquid metal cooling.
Liquid metal. It's a bit different because you can't just add the thermal paste to it as you were previously.
Oh, you can.
It's liquid out.
That is the point. Liquid metal is nothing else than a different kind of thermal paste. It sounds super cool, but it is a thermal paste in the end. It just works a little different. You have to special clean it before you apply it.
You got to find particular model of liquid metal, if you can buy that and reapply it and get it on there. And that's the thing.
But
you can't buy it.
I agree. I agree.
You don't want it. I mean, come on.
It's that and that's the thing.
If you ever need liquid metal, let me know. I have a source. I don't know if it's the same liquid metal that is used in the PlayStation, but
oh man,
it probably will do.
Erwin, what about you?
What
would
get
get
your
you
point.
to get?
It is
T3000 confirmed, pretty much.
But you don't want any hassle, right? And I think that's why we love consoles so much.
Exactly.
It comes out, you put it out of the box, you turn it on, bam, and it works. If I see now how my life is going now, I don't want the hassle to install drivers or also some other bullshit. I just want to play a freaking game without any hassle and turn it off 2 hours later, and the next day or the couple days after I will do the same without having all those troubles, right? So you need to be into it, or you're grown into it, into the PC gaming space. But for me, after so many years on a console, then now to change to PC, man, besides all the cost, the one-time investment, and then probably every time the upgrading as well, I don't know, man. For me personally, it's not something that I have ambition for.
And the weird part about it, Erwin, console gaming has gotten into that realm of PC where it's gotten to that expensive nature. If y'all think about it, you know, controllers, accessories, whether it be headsets, because you know you're gonna have a headset, you know, the all that other stuff. All that stuff is going into that realm of it. I mean,
the cheapest part of console gaming is the console.
I wouldn't even say it's the console. I would say it's the games. The console itself, usually now we're going to be in that realm of $500 for these consoles down the road, right? So that's half of 1,000 right there. Then we're counting additional controllers, headsets. You know, people like to buy the charger station, like I got. Like a lot of people like to buy all this other stuff, but you're getting into those high price type of ranges, and it's like for that type of range, you could have gotten a pre-built from CyberPower to get into that type of thing. But the thing is, though, even if you bought a pre-built from CyberPower, you're still missing one crucial element. That's how CyberPower usually gets you. You're missing a monitor. You see what I'm saying? You can't even use it. You need a monitor. So it's like PC. I don't see nobody jumping to PC. They say it's gonna be so easy. You're gonna be spending a lot more down the road. And if you're talking about building these PCs, good luck with that.
Yeah,
you got to get a lot of crucial components, and a lot of these crucial components are out of stock. No guarantee you'll get them, you know, especially the most vital one, which is a graphics card. No guarantee. So, you know, that's how it is, man.
I built a brand new PC last summer from scratch, and if I didn't know a guy, I wouldn't have been able to get all the
Can't put it
parts
together.
necessary.
Oh, man, it's like putting Legos together, man.
Yeah.
Everything has a shape. Everything has a particular way, man, to put it together.
Erwin, what would it take you to invest in an additional subscription service?
Yeah, but for me, it's simple. It needs to be more or less what Game Pass is offering me at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Sony will like what they do with everything, just step by step, right? Maybe from the 4 blockbuster titles that they release in a year, they maybe try one day and day.
Yeah.
And then some third-party games, because that's what I enjoy and appreciate as well from Game Pass. That's why I tried Plague Tale, right? That game. It was not a game that I personally thought like, whoa, I'm hyped for it or I want to buy it. But in Game Pass, I tried it and freaking absolutely loved it. It was The Last of Us good, let's say, that game on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's why Game Pass is also great, right? So I think they will maybe do, let's say, one of the 4 games that they launch in a year, that they launch in day and date in the service, and then with third-party titles most likely as well. But I think like they do with everything, they're just touching the water. And then slowly building it up. Sony is not always going full speed, full in. They take it slowly, step by step, investigate, see the data, what it is doing, what it is experiencing, and then they move forward. So they probably go step by step. And Xbox, of course, was in a position that they need to do something else. So then you need to push a lot. And Sony is just taking a little bit slow because they are in a position to do also. But for me personally, to really get it, then it will be the full Game Pass package.
Yeah, and I think Muppet said in the chat as well, and I think he kind of compares with yourself, and he said exactly the same thing about A Plague's Tale. He said if it wasn't for Game Pass, he wouldn't have tried A Plague's Tale.
Yes,
and obviously that's turned out to be pretty much one of those games that was, if not Game of the Year material, the level of detail, the quality, the story, everything was just absolutely top notch, and it's ended up making the second one a highly anticipated game for a lot of people. And it is, you know what the great thing is about
day one to Game Pass, by the way, yeah.
Exactly. And for a Sobo, I would probably be putting it on par with the quality of a PlayStation Studios game, in terms of its story and gameplay.
Yeah. I was playing back then through The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 or whatever, I don't know, a couple PlayStation games, and it really felt like a PlayStation game quality.
Yeah.
Quality-wise. So Plague Tale, and that's also because it was in Game Pass, a lot of people can experience the game.
Yeah.
You get the mouth-to-mouth, like Woody Burger was talking about. And then you see the part 2 is highly anticipated now, because a lot of people experience through such a subscription service. So there are a lot of benefits, but I'm curious how Sony will turn it up. They will make their own spin, and that's why I like them also, because they always follow, but they always give it their own spin, right?
Yeah.
To it, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, exactly. If there's one thing you're going to end up getting, whether it's the short term or the long term, is you're going to end up getting quality in the service at some point. It depends on what Sony's roadmap of this service looks like and how quickly they plan on implementing that. Whether like you say, I fully expect them, like a lot of people, to start doing it in dribs and drabs, testing the waters, see what it can do,
Mhm.
see how things perform.
See what needles they can turn, which ones they
Yeah.
can't, what times.
Yeah.
It's the data that will show. And if Jim Ryan is saying we want it to be experienced as movies and music, and that is the way to move forward. And he's not saying such things without a reason.
Yeah.
There's a real reason and strategy behind it, and it's just a matter to be rolled out. And yeah, curious to see how they handle this. Yeah.
Definitely. An awesome first topic. Awesome thoughts on that particular subject as well. Next topic is absolutely awesome as well, and for fighter fans, it's going to be even better. NeatherRealm Secret Project. Of course, Ed Boon mentioned on Twitter the other day he has a project in the work at the moment. Obviously, quite far into production by the sounds of things as it stands, that he's very excited about. However, he can't mention more because he would get into trouble. Now, if this was his own game, and it was something that he was designing, I'm sure he'd be teasing a little bit more as to what it was. For me personally, I believe this is a partnership with a particular company on with potentially a particular franchise that we've heard for quite some time, and that to me would be Killer Instinct or something along those lines. Obviously, that would be awesome. I've also heard potential rumors that it would be a Killer Instinct Mortal Kombat type mashup, a little bit like they have done with DC in the past.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But yes, it's certainly an awesome. It's not even just a rumor. It's a case of we know it's being developed.
Okay.
Like I say, if it was his own project, he would probably spill a little bit more beans. But considering he's saying, "I can't say much because I'd get into trouble," sounds like that's a partnership with another company who wants to keep this under wraps. And to me, after the kind of back and forwards that both Ed Boon and Phil Spencer have had with each other about doing a Killer Instinct and about working together, or Mortal Kombat, and the pally nature that they've had with Gamepass and Mortal Kombat and games from NetherRealm over the last year or so, it's looking more and more likely that this is a particular partnership with Microsoft to work on something together. I'm going to start with BitCloud first. Are you a big fighting fan? Are you much with the sort of say the Street Fighters previously? Obviously, you've got new Street Fighter 6 coming up as well. What would you look at for that particular comment? I'm waiting for something here. Ah, yes. Is that a fight stick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Two. There's a regular one. This one's all buttons.
Nice. All buttons, no joystick.
Yeah, it's all buttons.
Nice. So you're a very, very good fight fan then. So,
Give or take.
play.
Give or take.
What's your
Killer Instinct on the Xbox One or no?
Yeah, I played a little bit. It was good. Surprised we waited this long for a potential sequel, which is shocking. It could be Killer Instinct, and that would make sense. If it's a passion project, then the door is kind of wide open. It could be DC versus Mortal Kombat again. That's something a lot of people wanted to see again. That's the thing about NetherRealm, man. They're so good at what they do, especially with the Injustice games. Give or take if you like those or not. That whatever they really do, you're in for some quality down the road. So I would hope that it is the Killer Instinct. That way, everybody gets kind of what they want at this point. Now, if it's what you just said, like a Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct, I ain't gonna lie, that would actually be pretty cool with the combo breaker being thrown into the game plus fatalities, if they were actually considering that. And that actually might be a crazy sleeper hit if that was done proper. And so it's, again, man, it's crazy. So we'll see.
What would you? So obviously, Mortal Kombat 11 was absolutely awesome. The story mode on that was really good as well. Fight tower, the fight tower on that was really good.
Yeah, they know how to put love and effort into everything, and that's where, again, I don't think anybody should be worried about NetherRealm. They're so good at storytelling. They're good at putting the characters together and just being creative. Now, a lot of them are sick, though, I will say that, because some of these fatalities are questionable how they think of this stuff. But again, hey, that's what they are.
Definitely, definitely. Boxenberger, what are your thoughts on this potential surprise NetherRealm collaboration with Xbox then?
Yeah, I mean, BitCloud said it. It would definitely make sense. Xbox has said that one of their big plans for Game Pass is to have diversity in there, and what is missing in their portfolio right now, it's definitely a good fighting game, and Killer Instinct is beloved by many. It was a great fighting game. 2013, I think it launched along with the Xbox One,
Yes,
right?
it
Yeah, it
did.
was
Yeah.
Xbox
Or at
One.
least in the or at least in the launch window. So yeah, I mean that's 9 years. It's crazy that they haven't done anything with that IP so far. Especially when you look at other platforms that have actually paid a lot of money to get certain fighting games exclusive. So yeah, it definitely would make sense. Would it be for me? Probably not. I'm not the biggest fighting game player, but that's the beauty about things like Game Pass. We talked about it earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just give games a try
Options.
without. Pardon me?
Options.
Options. is what I said.
Options, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can simply check it out. So yeah, the rumor has been out for so long. For years we hear that a new Killer Instinct is in the making. So yeah, we shall see.
Definitely.
You know what I also think will make the decision, or has been made the decision, easier for Microsoft to do this. Tekken 6, or what was it, was exclusive for PlayStation, right?
Oh, Street Fighter 5.
Sorry,
yeah,
Street
sure.
Fighter 5, yes. And now there are also rumors about the sequel, or Tekken being exclusive, right, for PlayStation. So that's
Probably Street Fighter again.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
of the whole Capcom Cup and Evo or something like that.
Yes, exactly. But I think that
Yeah.
is maybe also a reason why they want to continue on their own fighting franchise. And I think they did, because I watch sometimes the videos of Maximilian Dude. Do you know that guy?
Yeah.
The big
Let's
YouTuber.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he was working on Killer Instinct, right, when it was launching on the Xbox One. But he has a great amount of followers also that demanding the game, and it even made a hashtag, right, of it, and it was trending back in the day. Bring back KI. So there are a lot of people seemingly wanting a sequel. And then I saw also somebody made a video about which studios could do it, and then there weren't so many studios who could do it actually. And then the possibilities are very funneled, and then you end up with such a developer, right? So when there's smoke, there's probably fire, and let's see. It will be nice to have such old IPs, and yeah, I think we talked about this a lot. That a lot of, is it on the PlayStation side or is it on the Xbox side? There are so many old IPs that they could bring or should bring back. It's amazing, but it's good if they will bring it back. And I remember when it was on the E3 show, then in 2013 or something like that. You remember the announcement of KI?
Yes.
Fucking hell, that voice, dude! I got chicken skin. Really, it was amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. So if for the fighting fans, it's awesome. I get super aggressive when I play those games. You
you
know
butt
me a little
mesh.
bit when I play Halo. So I can throw controllers also if it's not going right. So I passed that playing that fighting games, but I know that a lot of people enjoy them. So yeah, it would be cool if they bring it back.
Yeah, most definitely. I got Killer Instinct like straight away on the Xbox One when it came out. When it launched, I got the full Ultimate Edition, all the historic ones, and all the additions and everything like that. And it was a great game. The only issue I had with it personally, and that was from being a mainly Street Fighter player, because I'd always been a Street Fighter main. I'd pretty much mastered using Ken on Street Fighter as well, and he's very cheap. He's a very cheap player, but coming from the more intricate combinations that you do on Street Fighter versus the simplicity of combinations on Killer Instinct, it was kind of chalk and cheese. They were very different type of fighting games. Street Fighter had much more of a sharp learning curve if you wanted to play it properly. Killer Instinct, it's pretty much open to everybody to get in there and be semi decent straight away. The combos are a lot easier to achieve. The actual gameplay is a lot easier to get on with. It is. I was from someone who played a lot of Street Fighter as well. It would be nice to have a little bit more, like a Killer Instinct with a little bit more in-depth combinations like you would get on your Mortal Kombat. So that's the kind of takeaway for me that I would be looking forward to. If NetherRealm are doing it, then the combinations and the gameplay is going to improve a little bit more. You're going to have these more in-depth combinations and crossover moves and layoffs and things like that. And
yeah, if it is this dream project, it kind of makes you wonder: are they still going to do like the whole special guest character type?
Oh
thing
God,
so
yeah,
well?
yeah.
That's the other question too, because they nailed pretty much everybody from Terminator to damn RoboCop. I mean, dude, everybody's been nailed.
I mean, even Killer Instinct ended up having General Ram from Gears in there. They had Battletoads in there.
Can be thrown in there. Doom guy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They had some awesome crossover characters in there as well. And I can see that's another thing we've mentioned before. Like Xbox have got such a vast portfolio of IP now that they need to start making some of these things like a Smash Bros type fighter where they've got all of the different characters in it. Like a kart racing type thing with all the different.
Yeah. I think Sony might do, like, if this actually does happen, to response to this, they might respond to it like that. They'll come out with I don't know if you guys heard of PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah,
they did that a while on PlayStation 4. I think it was 4 or 3 that came out.
Yes, yeah,
it was 4. It was 4. PlayStation All Stars. So yeah, I do think that's another one that could come back as like a rebuttal, so to speak, to this, or their counter to it.
And that's good. You know what it is? I love this is the type of stuff we want to see. We want to see both these companies going, so that's what you're right. Okay. You just wait. I'm gonna do that as well.
Counter. I got you next week. Here's my counter.
That's the type of stuff we want to see because it's vying for your attention, and you want both these companies pushing each other so that they're getting better.
What I want is I want the 7th gen Sony back, so to speak. Remember how Sony was just like dropping game after game after game in response to everything type of thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was relentless. It felt like you were getting 7 exclusives a year.
Yeah.
It was relentless. So I want that type of approach if this all leads down the route that I think it is, where, Sony's got a counter. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sony has the answer to this. Sony has this game. Okay.
Yeah.
Microsoft announced Doom. Guess what? Doom's exclusive only on Xbox, platforms that have Game Pass. Okay. What Sony do? Okay, here's Resistance. Here's this game. You know what I mean? Like, throw whatever. You know what I mean? Throw those games out there. Get those games that need sequels or were abandoned in terms of sequels. Give them another shot. Why? Hit up David Cage. Bring back Quantic Dreams.
Yeah.
Quantic Dreams has been AFK for how long now? Where's Quantic Dreams? I would love to see them come back with another project after Detroit. Detroit was an incredible experience. I don't know if y'all played it yet, but that's a game that you need to play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And SOCOM also, and it fits also the type of games that they're wanting to go for. SOCOMs would fit in nicely with that multiplayer game approach, right?
Yeah.
So that's also such an old IP that a lot of people still have on their minds, and I would be freaking happy if they release something like that. No?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I see it. Obviously, we're still very early on in the generation. I see this generation being longer than most, to be honest. The hardware itself.
The world.
Yeah. The hardware itself, it's still got so much more headroom to go. The both Xbox now 23, 24. In fact, even this year onwards, it's starting to go into exclusive for this gen only. PlayStation probably next year onwards. And that's when we're really going to start the generation. Let's say start the current gen. As much as Horizon looks absolutely tremendous so far, that's still a game that was built for PS4 Pro and enhanced for PS5. GT, exactly the same. GT7 is a game that was very much designed on the PS4 and then enhanced for the PS5. And when we look to the future and we look at these additional ones, we want to see what the actual capabilities are of these systems and how much they can get pushed. And if what we've seen by Horizon so far on PlayStation is even just a glimpse of what's to come this generation, then of course it's a very good generation already for PlayStation. And of course we never doubt Insomniac and their qualities, so we always know that they're going to bring out a great looking and great playing game. Again, you can never discount. To be honest, you can never discount the studios at PlayStation for anything. They've managed to master the quality output in terms of graphical fidelity and level of attention to detail, etc., and even storytelling. It's just being able to utilize every bit of power and not be held back by previous gen systems is what we would really love to see.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? When you think about it, in the last generation, after 3 years, we got the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
That would mean we would get next year already the enhanced consoles if we follow the same cycle.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Which is,
Yeah.
crazy to think about.
The thing about these current systems, they're like I said this multiple times. You don't need a Pro for an Xbox or a PS5. You're good at what you got. They're as good as you could possibly get. You're getting all the bells and whistles. You're getting performance modes. You're getting a balanced type of mode, right, where you get the pretty visual and performance. Some of these games, Sony calls it performance ray tracing on select titles, which I do hope they can get that on everything now, where you just get the full 60 plus like really a lot of people talk about 4K with these consoles and 4K 60. Really the resolution they should be going for is 1440p or 1800p at least at 60. That right there is perfectly fine for a console experience. And people might go, no, 4K is better. Again, Dutch, you know, they can't tell the difference between 4K and 1800. So it's like, and that's I'm saying it's a perfect mix there.
Oh, 100%. It's as soon as AMD's got FSR down properly, then you're never going to have that issue anyway, because you're going to have that super resolution involved. You're going to be able to have games at 1400p or 1080p super resolution up to 4K.
Going solely for resolution is going solely for resolution is a waste of resources, computational resources. No doubt. I still think it would make sense to have a Pro and an X, probably not 3 years into the generation, simply because of the state of.
It depends on how long you're trying to push this gen. Are you trying to recreate the PS3 gen? PS3 gen lasted what, 7?
I think it's going to go longer.
Years?
Personally, I think this gen's going to be 8 or 9 years.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we had that with the 360,
9, okay,
and that was the thing. The 360, after 8 years, let's face it, it was way outdated. And even the last gen consoles, even the enhanced last gen consoles, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, felt at the end of the generation simply not state of the art anymore.
Yeah.
The thing is, and 6, 7, 8 years in technology is a long time. We are talking about in like 6 years, when our consoles are 8 years old, we will have we have Zen 6 processors, and we will talk about RTX 780s and 90s and what they do. We have to think about this. The PC space moves forward more quickly, so I really like this enhanced option. It was an option for the casual gamers that don't care for that power. They could simply stay at the PS4 or the Xbox One that they got in 2013, no problem. But the nerds like us, we like tech, and we like to be at the forefront of technology. And for us, it is a great thing to have an upgraded console 4 years into the generation.
Well, like I say,
I
was going to say the thing that's going to elongate this generation more than ever is things like super resolution, like DLSS, etc. With those
but
in
that's
there,
the point. FSR is really not on.
Not
like DLSS,
not
and it will never be.
No,
let's
it's
face
software
it,
based.
it will never be.
Yeah.
And if you look at Intel, what Intel has done with XESS, they are the ones that battle now DLSS. That they are the ones that can achieve that, and that is a perfect example. Is especially when you look at the AI space, what you can do with AI things like the super resolution DLSS stuff. there are other applications, obviously,
Of course.
like physics simulations and
Yeah.
actual AI simulation and so on. But that's a part where the current gen consoles really haven't shown us anything properly in state of
State of the art.
technology.
Yeah.
And simply because we don't have those tensor cores in there. And that is stuff where we could, for instance, see a big leap in like 2024 or something.
The pipeline for what we're talking about, FSR being mastered, I guess you can say, and fully like revved out, so to speak, for the next ones. In order for you to see, like, I know a lot of people really want to be wowed, I guess you can say. In order for you to be completely wowed, I mean, granted, you're being wowed now, but this is off of just simplicity, right? How fast these consoles are, the inclusions of SSDs, everything of nature, no load times. That stuff is changed a lot of people's perspective. So you're going to get that plus with the refinements. But in order to be like, I would say, blown away beyond what we've already seen, even further, like, just that next crazy tier level, Sony would have to go with Nvidia at this point.
Yes.
For inside, and Microsoft. They ought to go with Nvidia. And the thing
I have to agree with that as well.
You wanna hear my theory on this? I know I don't make a lot of friends with this theory, but Nvidia probably will never be it because they don't have CPUs, and
They don't,
I can't see a console that has a dedicated CPU and a GPU will always have that APU. And that's why they always went with AMD, because they were the only ones that offered one. Now Intel comes into this space, and Intel has CPUs, and they have now state-of-the-art GPUs that are at least in some degree
there's some
more
of the
advanced.
fields, they hit some of the numbers, some of the targets, but the thing about them though, they're not ideal. And if we're talking about comparison to Nvidia, and that's the thing, you would have to have a mix of both, and Sony's not working with both on no box.
Squeeze that NVIDIA GPU into an Intel CPU and make an APU for
hybrid. Engineers make a crazy cooling solution. It's like,
it
ain't happening. These CPUs, NVIDIA or Intel CPUs, bro, they 70, 80 degrees Fahrenheit we're talking about here.
Oh God, yeah.
Good luck cooling them down with liquid metal cooling with consoles. It's not gonna happen unless you got something crazy like and of course, obviously, the more high-end CPUs and GPUs, the bigger the box is going to have to get to accompany this and have a solution that can, fully work. So it's like consoles at that point. I mean, if you look at the PS5 and Series X, the size comparison of these consoles compared to the last ones, they're almost up there. It's like a full tower in terms of just the height difference, going up and down, the height difference. So it's like, dude, these consoles get bigger and bigger.
And you have to, the more you increase the power, the bigger the internal power supply's got to be, the bigger the coolant's got to be, the bigger the heatsink. And obviously PlayStation had the heatsink down on the first model and then reduced it for the second model. And which didn't make, again, we've spoken about that, didn't
don't make sense to me, but people, people damn sure, though, it's fine. I trust the engineers.
But yeah, I mean,
I'll wait till we start really seeing the games push the box. Then I'll hold my criticism, because that's what I know, longevity. It's actually not in the thing, because one thing to test the thing in a safe parameter, it's another to bring it in someone's home where a lot of people just put it underneath their entertainment stands. They don't clean them. They let them just dust up. Good luck with that. So,
The other thing really is the way how our consoles work these days. The question is really, do we actually need a new generation, or will it simply be iterations of the current consoles? Because the way how back compat works now,
beyond generations,
and exactly, and everything is using the x86 architecture, and there is really no real reason to have we have a PS6 now, or an Xbox, whatever it is called. You could just simply reiterate and then phase out over the time.
I would agree with that, because it's exactly what the PC model is essentially. Is you're just swapping out parts, and that's essentially what an iteration of the next one would be. You just be like, well, this is this exact same one. It's just got a faster processor, a little bit more RAM, and a better GPU.
Extra threads, you know.
Boom. Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
That's
But
all.
it would be nice to have some difference between the consoles, like real difference, if one of those goes with Intel, right?
Yeah.
Because now the specs
Yeah.
are more or less the same. And with Xbox Series X and PS5, there's hardly any difference.
I'm down with that. Yeah. Because
Even smaller difference
for a console.
than PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So it would be nice to have as a console gamer the real difference now, with one going with Intel, and maybe also Intel has that with their strategy. Also, okay, we're going to enter this market, but we have some big party behind us that takes always a certain amount of chips from us. So
Yeah.
who knows what's playing in the background, right? It would be for us as console gamers freaking nice to have some real difference comparison, because
true
it's it's so tiny, guys. Between the Pro and the One X, it was already hardly any difference because Sony used some very nice tactics with checkerboarding and whatever.
It took one technique, checkerboarding, and up, and pretty much it was the same CPU, a higher clock GPU, just a little bit, a little off the higher clock, and then that was it. And you got some improvements with that. But that was it. You didn't get no vastly game-changing ones.
I was going to say, for this generation specifically, it is going to be just down to content. The consoles are, like Erwin mentioned there, are that close together in terms of actual output performance. And the way they do things internally is a bit different. How they handle things is different internally. The way they split the processing power and the RAM usage and things like that, that's different. However, the overall power output from them both,
end result, it's going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You're going to see games differ in certain cases, like Hitman, for example, graphical fidelity favored in the Xbox with shadow quality and whatnot of that nature. Other games, again, Sony might get the lead because of the IO throughput, data handling. I mean, it's just it really is it's like a flip of the coin type of thing. Games going better this way, better that way. But it's, again, that's where they have the first party to really show off the true box. And again, that's where both now are just going to be a battle for. But I agree. Like, I would love to see like an elite line. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see
old school elite line. Definitely.
Yeah, I love the 360 Elite. That was fire back then. The old black OG. That's easy one. Still one of the coolest designs for the 360 is that OG black custom design.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the super slim version. I was like, oh my God, you gotta have that. That's the one you gotta get. So, I mean, it would be cool. The thing about it though is when you can't have too many consoles in the same line.
Yeah.
At that point, that's why I think like it's I agree to phase them out. But at the same time, you might want to do it stealthily, phase them out. You see what I'm saying? Like, drop this model and stop selling or producing the previous model. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be pretty soon. We're going to get to that point where we're no longer going to see the base model PS5s that we have right here. You know what I mean? Like the digital in this version, and the way it is with the side panels. Pretty sure when we get into the slimmer, more line of them, then you're not going to see these base models anymore. I mean, hell, Sony did that with the PS4. Remember the eraser looking one?
Yeah.
You never really saw that again after you saw the
Pro and the Slim.
The Pro and the Slim, yeah. So, yeah, I agree with that though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
to be fair, I'm actually waiting for if I get a chance to get a PS5 now, I will probably most likely will get it. But I'm actually wanting to wait for a Slim version, to be honest, because I have my cabinet. Oh yeah, you don't see it; it's in front of my wheel, but I don't even think it fits the PS5. I need to wait for Slim, dude. But if it's a Slim, I always like it. It just feels new, but it also, when PlayStation does it. Do you remember how freaking small the PS2 Slim was?
Yeah.
Fucking hell! It was
I think it was a dream. It was in every film in the back of the day because it was in everywhere. You couldn't escape a movie without seeing the PS2.
Yeah, it was tiny, and also the PS4 was slim, was so super tiny. I had it as well. It's like this thick, right? So I'm waiting for PS5 to release one, but I think with the whole current world things going on, first the whole COVID bullshit, and now the war and the chip supply and everything.
Yeah.
Man, that probably drastically changed everybody's strategy.
We're not gonna see it for a while. We're not gonna see it for a while. And it's gonna be, you're gonna see PS5s and Series X's go for like what, $750. for a while until they really can get you one. I mean,
Yeah.
that's sad. If you can't go to Sony's site and you waiting in line, they can't even guarantee you a console, which is
Yeah,
wow.
and unless Sony and Microsoft can produce a newer version for way cheaper, right? Then it's something that they will definitely.
And you know
move on.
that will happen over time.
Yes.
Things still will kind of decrease in price.
Yeah.
Of course, we're now starting to see kind of far smaller chips again. Where we're on 7 nanometer, and then 6 nanometer. Now we're down to 4 nanometer with a lot of the chips these days now as well. So as the chips get refined even further, and again like the will for consoles, get even smaller and be able to do a lot more with a lot less. You're going to see these smaller, refined models that are going to output. It's going to take a little bit of time now, and as you mentioned, because of world circumstances, that'll have been pushed back a bit. I think though Boxenberger on the FSR thing that I mentioned earlier, I 100% guarantee it's never going to be in line with the LSS. They're vastly
It'd be the
different.
closest you can see on console. I'll just give
Yeah,
it that.
yeah, it's as good as it's going to ever be for console, specifically with AMD, because
Are you
obviously
can get 120 frames every game? Doubt it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe doubt that, but you'll have an option for some. Maybe just FPS shooters will be the key main thing that you'll see that for racers.
Racing
Um,
games.
on
we
FSR
hopefully
specific.
move to that part when the performance mode is actually the 120 frames mode.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
60 is just a regular quality mode.
Yeah.
It's crazy how things changed though. People were damage controlling 60 versus 30. Like, 30 is more filmic back in the day. And I was like, no,
Holy
it don't work
shit.
like that. It doesn't work like that.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, he's joining by the looks of him on his break
What
or
the
still at
hell is
work,
happening?
one of the two.
Welcome to the Big Picture Podcast.
Oh,
God.
dear me. Dear
Can
me.
somebody give him a timeout?
Yeah.
Brody's summoned me. I had to go. But Brody said, I love you, Vince. Are you?
I was talking about another win in the chat, but I love you. I love you, brother.
God.
You summoned me, so here I am.
I was quitting smoking going for you.
I'm still on this WandrinDutch thing. So I'm just lurking this thing all day, but it's still good. So
Okay, good.
Good stuff. Good
So-
stuff.
no cigarettes yet, just cigarette taste. WandrinDutch, you know.
You haven't went for a fancy flavour. Oh, dear me.
Wow. Nou, 543,7.
But yeah, I just see in terms of FSR though, I just expect to
Are you
mute you
Mario?
for a sec. On FSR though, it's not going to match up. Oh, there we go, shouting over the top again. Yeah, you're getting boisterous today.
I need to get back to work.
Right.
Bye, Brody. Love you.
Hij is een verhaal.
Love you too.
Oh man. That's funny.
Dear me.
I mean, did he have the drink?
Yeah.
You've met him before, BitCloud? Or no?
Was he on the last show?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's, on FSR, of course, if people don't know the difference in chat, FSR with AMD is software-based, DLSS is hardware-based, so it can never be on par. They're not going to have the same output. They're never going to be able to do the same things or get to the same level.
Sony takes a gamble or AMD comes out with a GPU by that time that has some of those features in there, and it's like at like that bargain bin type of price they will want for it to get that type of performance. But again, I don't see AMD. I mean, granted, Lisa Su. Lisa Su's been really pushing consoles, so I don't know. Maybe she would. Maybe they are experienced because she was working with Mark Cerny with a lot of this stuff to get it in PS5. So it makes sense to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we know that AMD included machine learning capabilities on a hardware level.
Yeah.
They never really explained how they do it. Everyone is assuming they do it through their FP16 capabilities, but it is at least supported.
Yeah.
And there is this big AMD patent for FSR that utilizes that FSR can utilize machine learning, hardware-based machine learning. Nothing of that has ever been introduced to the world. It's everything what people make up and want it to be. Let me be honest, as long as we don't see those tensor cores on the silicon, I don't think it will be able to match up.
Yeah,
But
it's limited. Like it's all comes down to that box, and that's where people need to understand the difference between an open and a closed platform. What you get is what you get out of a console. PC, it's like you can go from a damn i5 to whatever you want in the same rig type of case. Just get the components, put them together, get what's compatible, and you're done. And that's pretty much it. You just screw it down to the PC. Of course, don't follow the Verge when you do that, but you do it the right way.
But no, what I was saying though, it's the fact that FSR still will help improve being able to output a higher, essentially a better quality game whilst using less, a bit like DLSS does, which means it will inevitably help the generation last longer. Of course, even if you
scale back the resolution, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just dial back the resolution, which gives more performance, more overheads to other things, whilst being able to then still output a slightly higher or better version of what your standard super resolution would be, or just dynamic scaling, should we say. And it would look a little bit cleaner even then over the likes of Checkerboard. So, and that's the benefits, really. It just makes these Checkerboard, again, Checkerboard resolution, even as an overhead, is sometimes quite costly, even in comparison to certain other versions of it.
I mean, it's possible they might do other things with it, though, to still give you a crazy visual with that ability. Like, I don't know if you guys remember temporal injection, which is used for Spider-Man 2018 for the visuals. Yeah, so, I mean, it's, again, they have a lot of techniques. That's what they've done good at, like, making options to supplement this, you know what I mean, to like mask it or add some more detail towards. So it's there's a possibility you'll lose, probably the more finesse type of details, but you'll probably still get an image that's relatively the same. Just you probably won't be able to tell as much, depending. Like, like they have like they'll add like extra blur in the background or something versus something super clear if you're watching it like in one mode, like resolution. So they'll probably have stuff like that ready to go for
100%. The one thing I want to see from this generation, really, other than kind of better world densities and more vibrant worlds, is more worlds that are more alive, better AI across the board, much more intelligent AI that interact with the world a little bit more and are actually kind of makes the gaming world feel more alive, and that's for every studio. That's where I want to see the advancements this gen.
I feel like we took a step back from that from the PS4 gen. I remember GTA 4. Remember how in GTA 4 you shoot somebody in the arm, they'll actually hold their arm and run away and try to like limp away type of thing. Or you shoot them in the leg. You don't see characters react like that. Even in the GTA 5, you don't see that. Or hell, even the crazy girlfriends, they'll pop your tires if you catch you cheating. You don't see the world like realistic. So I don't know.
And like I say, it's as great as Horizon looks. Horizon pretty much tells you what the AI pattern is anyway, because as soon as you use the focus, it's like, well, this is their route. This is where they go, and this is what they do at all times. And unless they kind of are seen by you, and then they start to attack you, and then they've just got to focus on you, they would just go back to their standard route afterwards, and just that's what they do. So yeah, it's the advancements of AI where things like that in Horizon, for instance, these massive mechanical creatures are essentially just free roaming around the world at their own will, and they'll go to different places and they'll start fights with other mechanical units, and they'll do X, Y, and Z, and like interact with things as if other things are alive and act like nature would, essentially. Those are the types of advancements I want to see, is where the world itself is interacting with itself and doing extra things, and things are going on that you wouldn't expect. And I think the AI as a good example would be the likes of Red Dead Redemption 2, where absolutely random things would occur and people would get into gunfights in the middle of nowhere, and you'd be like, what is going on over there? And just like these spontaneous things would happen that you just don't see. Those are the types of things I want to see going forward anyway. And that's where I hope the generation goes. Other than, like I say, more detail in the worlds and environments we see. AI improvements for me is one of the key things that I want to see this generation.
But
That'd be cool.
when a game releases on PC, right? You always need to have the common or what it's called, the weakest system that they need to pay attention also to, right? So
Yeah.
don't you, or at least it really needs to be a real only console exclusive where you can really make such steps.
Yeah.
Unless you are always, and most the third party games are releasing on the PC most of the time as well. So are we really going to see such huge steps as we are wanting to? Unless it's going to be the really next gen console only.
I think later on in the generation we will. I don't think obviously third party is kind of key here because third party will cater to the last generation far beyond that first party will. First party will ditch the last gen well before third party will. But yeah, I think we'll probably see more of the advancements in AI and etc. Probably from third party specifically 25, 26 maybe. But I think first party, I think even Xbox, Microsoft, and even Sony are looking at those things for their current games that are scheduled to come out in the future. No doubt Insomniac will be looking at that for enemy AI and how they interact with Spider-Man or Wolverine when you're fighting them and things like that. And of course, with Forza, you hope to see the kind of like they had the driver system in previously where they learned off the driver. You obviously want them to refine that a little bit better as well and make a little bit more, should we say, smarter decisions on the track. And I think first party is going to get there well before that. And obviously you wouldn't be able to compare them against each other, but you'd have a good understanding as to what the AI and kind of advancements both systems are doing for different types of games.
Yeah.
Definitely. But this has been an absolutely awesome show this evening. We've discussed a lot of topics, actually. We started off with an awesome topic going into the details of sim racing and GT7 and things like that. Of course, we will be playing GT7. I think is it tomorrow or is it the day after?
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
The 3rd, right?
Jesus. That's come
is
quick.
It or the 4th?
I think it might be. Is it the 4th? No, tomorrow's the 3rd. I think it's the 4th.
I thought it was the 3rd, but I could be massively mistaken. But I thought I will Google it to be sure.
I think it's
crazy
the 4th.
month, man. Too many games.
Yeah.
This would be like the first time in a long time I could say that there was just too many games for 1 month. But that's a good thing because usually we don't have that much to celebrate.
Yeah.
So
March 4th, Drew.
All right, so Friday.
So Friday.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice weekend of GT then.
Yeah, so I saw some people in the chat wanting to play Forza Horizon 5 on Friday, but guys, I am not joining you.
Yeah, be on GT.
Be on GT.
Yeah, I'll be trying that out as well. I'll be on that.
Yeah. And I'll try to stop my work early on Friday, so that will be freaking amazing. And also my kids are going to Pachu on Saturday evening, most likely. So that will give me some breathing space as well to play some.
Oh, you want to enjoy that break, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So they're always with us and not staying somewhere else. So this is the first night they are going to stay out. And let's see how that turns out. So hopefully we're not getting a call at 11 in the night. Hey, they want to go home or whatever. But let's see. It will be.
I hear that, man.
Yeah. Kids life, man. Kids life.
Awesome stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. But we will get into the outros. First of all, Mr. Forza Erwin, of course, brother. Let people know where they can find you. What you've got coming up.
Yeah, so people can find me on Twitter, Forza Erwin, YouTube Racing from Home. I will be live streaming, I think, quite a bit on GT7. So single player and multiplayer stuff. So look up for that. And I don't really have other plans than to play a GT7, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a little bit boring, but I just want to go fully involved. And with GT Sport, because it was launched with not so much content. I wasn't really into it. It really started for me later, after a couple of years, when a lot of tracks and cars were added, where I found the beauty of GT Sport. So now I have the ambition to start from day one with GT7, and also to see if I can up my driver rating in top class, let's say. So I have a lot of challenges for me and myself on the road, but I'm happily want to take that, and I would just want to be more in the Gran Turismo scene. So until the next Forza Motorsport releases, of course, and that is
Yes.
still the big question mark if it will happen this year. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Will it or won't it? We will wait and see. I think
Yeah.
it's still a possibility it could. It's still very much a possibility it could. But we shall see. We shall
Yeah.
see. Awesome stuff, brother. Awesome stuff. Next up, Mr. Big Cloud Gaming. Of course, thank you again for joining us, brother. Let people know where they can find you and what you've got coming up.
Oh yeah, man, good show. It's Big Cloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. No crazy special guest this week. No, it's next week. We have an awesome, insane guest for that. So I can't wait to get to that week. So I've been looking forward to that for a while. But yeah, that's Big Cloud, YouTube, Twitch, everything. My channel, gaming news, live streams, the works. And when I'm not uploading, I'm working with IGN as a freelancer. So there you guys go. I hardly rest.
Nice.
So make sure you guys support. Obviously, hit that like button if you have hit the like button. And yeah, see you guys next week.
Awesome stuff. Any more Marathon Elden Ring streams coming up for you? Or
No, don't you tempt me. Don't tempt me. Probably gonna do one as soon as we end this. So.
I don't blame you. Don't blame you. Enjoy. I will be picking that up at some point. I just I
wait
haven't
for it to be
I haven't
super
got
cheap.
into the FOMO yet. I have not got into the FOMO.
Wait, have you played Demon Souls?
I haven't played Demon Souls, no.
Okay, so play this first just to get you basics, and then go to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
You want to play that first?
Right.
We need a PS5 first, BitCloud.
Yeah.
That's right. He doesn't have PS5, so he has to play
If you have
Bloodborne.
to-
Bloodborne.
If you have
I've
two
got
left-
Bloodborne. I have
Yeah.
Bloodborne.
If you have two left, then let us know.
You played Bloodborne? Or
Yeah.
did you beat Bloodborne? Okay.
So I'll be all right as long as I've played Bloodborne. I'll get a good idea.
I mean, you got an idea. It's pretty much. I would say the concept's pretty much the same. They just changed the wording, so instead of blood echoes, called
Yeah.
souls to horror rooms. So yeah, it's pretty much the same concept.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Last but not least, of course, Mr. Boxen Burger. Of course, other than resting and making sure you get rid of your sinus issues, let people know where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, people can find me basically everywhere at the Boxenberger. Of course, on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, and here on YouTube. I have tomorrow my podcast airing live at 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Central Europe, and 2 p.m. Eastern. The World of Gaming. Tomorrow I will have Mr. Boomstick XL as a guest, and we will have a couple of great topics that I think a lot of podcasters missed this week. So it's going to be an awesome show. Can't wait for that. Other than that, I'm always working on new videos. I have a big tech-focused video coming up. I do a lot of research for it. I've probably never done so much research. So I don't know when this will be ready, but this is a big project. Can't wait for it. And yeah, next week I will have also a very special guest on my podcast. Can't talk about it yet, but I'm really excited for this one. And
I won't say
It's
anything.
gonna be awesome.
Burger.
Oh boy.
If I could only believe that. No, other than that, it's been awesome here hanging with you guys. Thank you, and I see you guys next week.
Thank you very much. And yeah, before I give my outros, I want to say congratulations to Stuffed Sean on hitting his 50 followers on Twitch and getting that ever so close to getting that affiliate mark as well. Keep up the grind. It's not easy, but it is worth it in the long run. You will have fun on Twitch. And of course, no doubt the support will keep coming. So keep it up and enjoy it, brother. But of course, you can find me on Twitter at WandrinDutch, here on YouTube at WandrinDutch, where we've done a lot more live streaming of gaming and community events and things recently. And this week, you can also find me on ACG's podcast on Friday. So, of course, tune into that. But until then, we will see you all again on, well, you'll see me on Sunday on the weekend edition, and you'll see the rest of these guys next week again on the Midweek Mix-Up normal podcast. Enjoy, guys. Have an awesome evening, and see you all later.